We have so much going on from pretty much every area of our life when we're in the menopause transition and beyond. And it can feel really confusing, and more importantly, it can feel really lonely. We have no one we feel like we can turn to. We're not even fully sure what's going on. And most importantly, oftentimes, we're not even sure who to turn to for help. Is our doctor menopause certified? Is my OBGYN comfortable talking about hormone replacement therapy? Where do I go? With only 30% of OBGYNs certified for menopause, it gets really confusing. And I know this firsthand because so many of you have reached out asking, how do I find a menopause practitioner? And today is the day where we are breaking down how to find someone who knows menopause and can help you through this transition and listen to you. It unfortunately isn't as easy as it should be, but it definitely is accessible even if you live somewhere where you don't have access to someone locally. Today we are talking with Sarah Larson, who is as brilliant as she is delightful, and she's very much both. She is a menopause advocate, educator, and coach, and she is helping you break down how to find someone who can support you through this incredibly vital time. And we're also talking the number one thing women are missing during this transition that will absolutely change the game. So buckle up, because today we level up. But first,
welcome to Fit After 40, the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. Kinsey here, certified personal trainer and menopause coaching specialist. I've worked with hundreds of clients over the past 12 years and know firsthand how intimidating starting a fitness routine can be, especially in perimenopause. My goal is to teach women in midlife and beyond how to feel strong and confident in their bodies, and to help them live the healthy life they deserve, free of pain, heart disease, dementia, frailty, you name it. In this show, you'll get action steps you can take today, backed by the most up-to-date research and thousands of hours of practical in-gym experience. The best time to get started may have been 20 years ago, but the second best time to get started is today. Hello, and welcome to Fit After 40, Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. Coach Kinsey here again. And today we have another very special guest on the podcast. Gosh, we have been so lucky this month, you guys. So please just take a moment to pause the podcast and say, thank you, amazing guests. All right, good job. Welcome back. Thank you, amazing guests. I am super excited about today's topic because what we are talking about is a huge piece that is missing from almost every single woman's menopausal journey. And honestly, it is one of the biggest things that can make your transition so much smoother. But the catch is that most women don't even know that this option exists for them. And no, it's not some flashy little 30-day celery cleanse or an $8,000 supplement pack. It's way more effective. It's, drumroll please, menopause coaching. Dun, dun, dun. We are talking about what is menopause coaching, why it is such a major game changer, and why, if you are in this transition, you deserve this resource to level up your support system. Honestly, when I first learned about it, it felt like going from one of those Flintstone cars where you're literally doing all of the work and like totally scraping up your tootsies to this like sweet, flashy little Ferrari, which I assume is a good car. But the point is, it's a car that you don't have to pedal by yourself with your bare feet, right? You just get to sit back, drive yourself, and enjoy the journey, and maybe even have a little fun with it. And because she is a rock star, our guest is also going to share with you the answer to one of the most asked questions I get from women. Honestly, I've been thinking about doing a podcast myself about this, but this person is way more resourced, so it felt like a little gift from the universe. That question is, how do I find a menopause provider? Because as we've talked about on this podcast, only 30% of OBGYNs right now are actually trained in menopause, and you deserve someone who is. So stay tuned to the end for that nugget. And now, who is this mystery genius? Every once in a while, you cross paths with someone and you immediately know, yep, them's my people. And our guest today is Sarah Larson. who was 100% one of those humans. Within 5 seconds of meeting her, I was like, yeah, you're definitely stuck with me. Not only because she is incredibly knowledgeable about the menopause transition and helping Sherpa women through this confusing and tumultuous stage of life. Not to mention, if we weren't careful, I'm pretty sure we could still be talking about menopause since our first coffee like 2 weeks ago. But she's also an absolute joy to be around. When we are navigating midlife, when we are riddled with uncertainty, when we're feeling irritable, underslept, disconnected from who we were like a month ago, it is an incredibly vulnerable time for us and very confusing. And having a person who is compassionate, who listens, who actually makes this stuff like kind of fun in the midst of it all. And I know it sounds impossible, but for real, having this kind of person in your corner is one of the most valuable things we can do for ourselves, especially when that personality is coupled with knowing what she's talking about, actually being able to help you and giving a shiitake mushroom about your experience. She is a gem, and I'm so excited to have her with you today. So before I let her talk, I'm going to tell you more about her. Sarah Larson. This is the first time I've like made a guest sit quietly. So this is my verbal drum roll. She is a menopause life coach, educator, and speaker who helps women cut through misinformation and access evidence-based menopause care. She specializes in advocacy, education, and community building, supporting women through perimenopause and postmenopause with clarity, confidence, and a healthy sense of humor. Amen. Hi, Sarah. Sorry I buried the lead for so long and made you sit quietly. Whoo, thank you so much for being here. How the heck are you today?
Well, I'm so good. I was considering making a therapy appointment, but I feel so good about myself now that I think I'm fine.
Great. That's what I'm here for. I will just build you up because you deserve it.
Oh my gosh. That was such a great intro. I don't even know what to say. Thank you.
Like I said, because people who have listened to this podcast, we were connected through Danny Foxhoven Young, who's been on a couple of these podcasts, and she shot us just a group text, and I didn't know the number. I don't even think I had your name yet. She's just like, hey, you two are going to really hit it off. Like, here are your numbers, exchange information. And she was like, hi, I'm Sarah, by the way. And I was like, okay. And we made this coffee date and then sat down. And like I said, Danny was right.
I know. I'm still kind of on a high from it. And it was 2 weeks ago? Because I've been kind of reliving it in my like happy moments.
Same. It was just like,
it was so good.
One of those things where it was every single thing we were relying. Like I said, too, it's just, I joke all the time that my husband and sister and the people closest to me are like, can we talk about something other than menopause? I'm like, I guess, but like, what do you want to talk about?
I know.
And with you, it was like just everything. We're like, and this, and hormones, and access to and information. And it was just, I was like, oh, God,
I know. Finally. I love the fact too that we were like, oh God, it's actually been like a couple hours. We probably need to go like work.
Oh yeah, we both have our own businesses. So maybe we should, I don't know, like clock in and try to have a home.
Do some shit. I don't know, right?
Okay, well, Sarah, woohoo! I'm so delighted that we could find time for you to come on here. I would love, before we jump into picking your amazing brain, for you to just kind of let us know how you got here. What brought you to being a menopause coach? What's your journey like, girl? Lay it on us.
Oh dear, I'm sorry in advance because if you've ever heard me talk before, you know that my journey to getting to this menopause coaching space reads a little bit like a ferret on crack because it just doesn't make sense until you look at the whole thing in reverse. I have, without intending, continually in my life and my careers, bumped into working with women. I started working as a youth director, thought I was going to be a pastor for a while. And as a youth director, I ended up having all these moms of kids coming up to me and going, hey, we heard you really like camping. Would you take us camping and teach us how to go camping? Because we don't want our husbands to teach us. And I was like, sure. So like I started taking women camping, which ended up kind of accidentally turning into like its own business where I did women's adventure travel and retreat, which ended up bumping into me doing some professional guiding for a couple of women's organizations, which was amazing and profound work that I have loved and miss and want to do again. And then through all of this, I had some kids, got married, did life. the life thing kind of happened along the way. And over and over and over, I was always kind of considering, do I go back to school? I have a master's degree in adventure-based education, and I have a master's degree in outdoor ministry and outdoor education. So I've done a lot of school, but I always kind of wondered if I should have gone to school to be a therapist, but it also never quite felt like the right fit. And I have a girlfriend who's been a life coach now for, I think we're going on 12 years or so. And she kept saying, you should just go be a life coach. It's what you do every day anyway. So why don't you just go do it? I finally bit the bullet about 6 years ago, got my certification and training, which was such a fun process. And I loved every minute of it. And the entire time I knew, I was like, I'm not even going to try. No, I'm going to work with women, because that's just what's going to happen anyway. So I decided I was going to focus on another real passion of mine, which is the sandwich space so many women find themselves in, where they're caring for aging parents and still have kids at home and are trying to navigate two really big worlds. My dad died of Alzheimer's about 13 years ago, walked a long journey and rode with him and my family. And that was so formative, and it was so hard. And I wanted to help women navigating those kinds of events. While doing all of this, all of a sudden, my health just kind of went to heck in a handbasket. Like, I'm pretty active. I've been fit my whole life. I eat really well, like 80% of the time, and the rest of the time it's Doritos and Oreos.
Yeah, because life, baby.
Amen. And so I'm like genuinely like a pretty healthy person. But then all of a sudden, about 6-7 years ago, things just started getting weird. Like, I developed anxiety out of nowhere. Like, I'd never had it before. That rolled into a pretty profound depression that I couldn't crawl out of and didn't really understand why it was happening. I just thought it must be that I'm getting old, or it must be that life's too stressful, or life's just hard. That rolled into like an inability to recover from workouts, kind of crazy joint and aches and pains that made no sense. I couldn't think, I couldn't find words. I joined an Alzheimer's research study because I was convinced I had early onset Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
I
that
ended
makes
up in
sense.
Right. I ended up in the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack. I was having a panic attack. I mean, like, all of this stuff just started in my early 40s, and I had no idea what was happening. Then one day I saw a post online, and it said, I mean, I'd gone to 12 doctors. Like, I think I saw 12 doctors in just over 2 years. And everybody was like, you're the picture of health. Your blood works great. Everything looks great. We don't know. There's nothing wrong with you. I'd even at one point asked somebody, like, could this be menopause or something? And they're like, no, you're too young. At this point, mind you, I'm like 45. We'll get to that later.
Yep. Yep. Put a big old pin and flag in that one, round back.
And I saw this post online, and it listed the 32 symptoms of perimenopause. And I was in my office. I stopped dead in my tracks, and I read this thing, and I was like, her what? Okay, so I read through all of these. I called my husband on the phone, who's in the house 200 yards from me right now. Hi, honey. I called him. I was like, babe, I am reading this list of the 32 symptoms of menopause, and I have 94 of them. And he's like, well, send me the list. So this just sent me on a deep dive. I got super involved with at the time it was the North American Menopause Society. Now it's just the Menopause Society. I got really involved. I started going to conferences. I just started like cold calling doctors who were online talking about menopause and being like, tell me more. Like, I need to understand better what's happening to women. And I totally pivoted. So my coaching practice now is almost exclusively working with women who are early in their menopause transition to late post-menopause and still struggling with all the symptoms and stuff going on. So that's how I got here. It was like the most random, circuitous route, but it has turned into me doing work that I feel like my whole life prepared me for. Like, almost everything I have done, like, now to me clearly has led me to this work. And I love it so much.
I mean, okay, first of all, you can all take a minute just to like love on Sarah. I told you she's freaking amazing. We had sat down, and you've done and lived so much that I forgot you had a master's in adventure-based education, which is like I didn't know that existed. What am I doing with my life? But
Right.
also, like you said, you've been training for this your whole life. Women have been drawn to you. You were taking them on external adventures, and menopause is really kind of an internal adventure. You know, there's a lot of unknown. We can do our best to like bring the tools we need, but once we're there, what really has to happen is this resilience and this ability to like plan for the best and then expect things to go completely sideways. So it's interesting. I mean, first of all, we all love ferrets. They stink a little bit, but they're the
They do
cutest little
sing them.
things.
They're so cute.
Yeah, ferrets and hedgehogs, they're smelly, but I love them, so I
know.
accept. But
Right.
that parallels that makes a lot of sense to me. The like just sort of getting in the driver's seat of your life and in your ship. And I like to think of menopause as an adventure. We get to choose how we approach this, and that I think is a really powerful approach as a life coach too. So I was just like on the edge of I'm not kidding, but I was on the edge of my toes listening to you share this, because I love hearing how people, especially in the menopause space right now, got there, because especially getting started like 5-ish years ago, nobody was talking about this. So anyone who really started in this space like before 2025 got there because of something either personal with them or with a loved one, because
Absolutely.
it, like you said, like, thank you for, I'm sorry you had to go through the 12 doctors in 2 years, but like, you're a big part of the reason why women now are like, screw this. Like, we want information, and we're not going to just give me someone who knows. And that, I think too, is what makes you so qualified, is that you have this experience of knowing too, just that like frustration of being like, stop telling me my blood work is fine. I feel the depression alone. Like, it was amazing that you were able to get up and go to do this, because that's so, we've talked about it before on this podcast, but I just think it's so important to recognize that a lot of women start their perimenopausal transition with the brain. We get that anxiety, depression, brain fog, and we're starting to talk about it more, but it's not really recognized, and it can feel really, you mentioned like one thing that I think stands out I hear it all the time in gym space when people like come to me and they're like, my knees hurt, and they're like, it's just life. I'm just getting older, just kind of like rolling over and being like, and there's the inevitable. But you were really able to find, like, and what you help women find is that it's not an inevitable. There is another way. So
yeah, absolutely.
Your story is amazing. Thank you for the adventure. And next time we're together, I'm going to try to remember to talk to you about the adventure-based.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so fun.
Maybe we just have to have you on here. Ladies, let me know if you want to talk about adventure-based education, because I do. So
I love it. So, yeah.
But we have a lot to talk about, Sarah, so calm down. Let's get into this. So now you're here. Why don't you, because being someone who is newer to the space in the last 3 years, I hadn't really ever met a menopause life coach. And after speaking with you, I was like I said in the intro, I truly believe this is something that is going to become a lot more normal in the future. But right now is this really unsung hero of a resource for women. So I would love for you just to tell us, like, what the heck is a menopause coach?
Yeah, at the root of what I do, my focus is really helping women untangle from the confusion. And it's changed even since I started. I've been in the menopause space now for almost 4 full years. And when I started, there were people talking about it, but it was nothing like it is now. I mean, it's just been mind-boggling how much it has exploded in the ether and how much we're talking about it, which on one hand is absolutely spectacular and phenomenal and wonderful, and I'm really grateful for that. The flip side of that is that everyone's talking about it. And so there's a lot of conflicting information. There's a lot of misinformation. And now, even more than ever, there's a lot of really predatory behavior that's really targeting women who don't, because most of us, let's be real, like, I mean, you heard my story. I'm looking at this list of symptoms going, what in the Sam heck are we talking about? And so when you recognize that, and then you lay that against the fact that still, there's so many women still don't really have any idea what to anticipate or what to expect or what to even imagine is going to happen, let alone that it's even on their radar, right? You think of most women between the ages of 30 and 40 have small kids or like killing it in their careers, they're living their best lives. And we know that's when this process begins. we used to say all the time that, perimenopause started in our mid to late 40s, but we know now that the data is really clear that this is a process that's beginning for women in their mid 30s. And like you said earlier, the real symptoms that are showing up for women during this time are not the quintessential ones like hot flashes and weight gain. The ones that are really showing up in these early stages are women going to the doctor or even just saying to their girlfriends, I don't feel like myself. Something is off. Like I'm more irritable, I'm tired, and I don't understand why. I used to be able to get 50 things done before 9 a.m. and still be ready to go for the day. And now I get 50 things done in a year and I feel like I got run over by a Mack truck, right?
Totally.
There's this pivot that happens. And for most of us, it happens so subtly and so slowly. And so much of the other parts of our life are still happening full tilt, right? We're still having to do all the stuff we've been used to doing. Plus, we're adding the realities again of maybe aging parents or taking care of friends and family who are getting older, and our kids are getting older, or we're empty nesting, we're at the peaks of our career. And there's all this weird stuff that's going on underneath, and we mostly dismiss it as like, well, I don't know, I just don't feel right. I don't really understand why. I just had a conversation 2 days ago with a woman, and she's like, my kids were mad at me because I can't keep track of things like I used to. They're used to me just sort of being on top of our schedules, on top of everything, and I can't do it anymore. And I miss stuff, and we miss appointments, and I double book. And she's like, there's something wrong. And that's the part for me with the starting this conversation early and understanding that, like, as a menopause coach, my biggest goal is to untangle you from all of this noise, get you really clear about what is happening to you, because every woman's menopause experience is unique to them. Sure, Karen might have run a marathon and taken black cohosh and never had a hot flash. Lucky Karen. But the likelihood that that's going to be your experience, or that what worked for her is going to work for you, is really rare. So I walk alongside women. In fact, I've even been debating, like, sometimes calling myself a coach doesn't even feel right because I'm more of a guide.
Yeah.
I walk beside women and kind of come in when it gets hard. I step in when it gets confusing or you're not sure where to go or what direction to take. That's when I step in. And then we navigate all of the rest of life together too. But my goal is to take all of the confusing, hard, overwhelming parts of menopause specifically off your plate completely, so you can just have a real sense of clarity about what's happening to me, what do I need to do about it, and how can I get the help I want and need and deserve.
Yeah. Woo, things are flying. No, 100%. And that to me, again, kind of goes back to the metaphor of your previous career and this career. It's like menopause, especially when, man, there's so much that you said there that is so good. And I mean, we could just spend the next hour talking about this. Again, that's the problem benefit of hanging out with you, is that just for one, trying to have the conversation about perimenopause starting earlier has proved to be really difficult for me. I've noticed I've gotten a lot of pushback from it, a lot of like sort of this, women are used to being sold to. So I think there's this initial thing like, oh, you're just trying to get me to fall into like a marketing niche, which like super fair. We should be very aware of, like you said, predatory approaches.
Yes, absolutely.
But it is so important for us to know, again, going back to that, like, I guess this is just life, the women's tendency to like blame ourselves when we are forgetting things or when we're feeling really stressed or just being like, I guess this is what it is now. In the fact that it's very insidious and progressive, like you said, it kind of grows over time until suddenly you're standing there lost in the woods, not sure of how you got there, not sure of how to get out, and not even realizing that you're standing in the woods, just kind of accepting this as like, somehow I'm failing my situation. Like, I should be able to keep it together. I should be able to do the things that I used to do. So that to me is why it's so important to at least start to acknowledge as a society that this shift is happening, and it gives us tools. Because again, to me, it's all about quality of life. It's all about quality of life. And like you've mentioned so beautifully, that sandwich culture, that there's so much going on, that there is enough on your plate that being lost in the woods, just trying to get out of bed in the morning to be like a whole person or like even a shell of a person, that is that's where I think what you do is so powerful. Cause like you said, all those menopausal like confusions, which there are many, and we'll talk in a second kind of more about the benefits and those confusions specifically, like you move them off so that I can go and take care of my parent who has Alzheimer's, and I can get my kids to practice and try to like not punch my partner in the face when they ask, when they ask me why I left the laundry in the dryer for 2 days,
Right. Right.
Just kidding. That's asking for a friend, but seriously, cause there's so much else that it's just kind of like lifting up and like you said, guiding someone through this. So it really is like I am excited to see where this opportunity for women blossoms as someone. It reminds me of when I go into business coaching, and it's like you only know what you know. So like if I wanted to level up my business, but I just did things the way that I've always done it, I'd have a business, but it would be a lot of work and I would plateau pretty early. So instead I invest on someone who's gone through it, knows what I can't see, and can help me like take it to the next level. And that's kind of what this is. You're helping women take their life to a next level is how I see it.
Absolutely. I think one of the important pieces to insert in this is a big piece of it isn't that that doing more is always the solution. Sometimes, and this is for me, the part of the unraveling that I really like to talk to about women. This is a long game. We spend 30 to 40% of our lives between perimenopause through postmenopause. So any illusion that there's some sort of a quick fix out there for this, that's like a one and done, I'm going to do this thing, it's going to work, and then I'm going to be fine. That illusion, I think, is what is feeding so much of this like sense that women are constantly being sold to. And what I want to offer women is an opportunity to step back and get really good about knowing what's happening in their bodies. Because when they know and understand that, in my experience, had someone just told me you're not dying of a terrible, horrible tropical disease, like if somebody would have just given me that assurance and I would have been like, oh, this is common. This happens to a lot of women. Yeah. It's not unusual. And I can create some strategies and I can put a game plan into place that's going to take some little things here. And it's going to take a lot of saying no. And it's going to take a lot of like just taking a deep breath and calming the whole space down so I feel like I'm in control. Mm-hmm. That to me is the gift I give my clients, because I don't want you to think that the solution to this is that now everything's perimenopause and so everything involves a supplement and everything involves an exercise plan and everything involves a cleanse and everything, right? Yeah. Let's just like let's take all that out for a second and figure out, do you know what's happening to you? Can you identify it, and do you understand why? Because knowing that solves for most of the anxiety and the issues we face.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I see why you thought you should be a therapist, because that is, that's great advice. And yeah. I do just want to call it out, because what I heard is a really good reminder too, that it can be, especially when we have something like the word perimenopause in our mind, sometimes we can sort of prescribe an issue for ourselves, but we're negating the fact that maybe we've spent 20 years not taking care of ourselves, or we've been working a job that has us exhausted, and we're there's so many, we haven't been sleeping, we have kids who are we just had a baby. There are a lot of women now who are coming out of childbirth and going into perimenopause, and we're there's so many different factors that can be going on. So that I'm glad you called that out, because that's a really important thing I think for people to hear too. And that again just makes it more of, this is, I say it all the time on this too, we're looking at a lifelong journey when we're talking about overall health and wellness. So okay, love that. Okay. Wow. Back on track, Kinsey. You stay on track, girl. So what are some of the biggest benefits of a woman? You've said so much already, but like just sort of watering it down. Benefits of having a menopause coach, the most common confusions women go through. What are those sorts of things that you find that have been most helpful to women in this space?
I think I wish I could wave a magic wand and remove all confusion, because there's, as coaches, we all sort of approach this differently. There's not a ton of menopause coaches. There's a few of us I know in the Twin Cities, and each one I know, some of them very well. We all kind of focus on different things. I think the benefit of finding the coach that fits with you and that's the right fit for you is that you get to unload a lot of the mental load that comes with adding the perimenopause menopause equation into all the stuff you're thinking about while also still trying to do everyday life. It's like, how do I mean, I talk to women all the time who are like, my Instagram feed is riddled. Like everything I get is about menopause. Like it's menopause ads, it's menopause shampoo, it's menopause exercise plans, it's menopause shoes, it's menopause everything, right?
Yeah.
And so that just gets very loud and very overwhelming super fast. And my niche is like, let me just remove all of that stress from you because I'm going to ask you, like, I'm going to get into the details of your values. We're going to explore options that align with the things you believe in, the things you really want to be true for your health. Like all of that's open space where we get to explore that together. But what you don't have to do is try to learn everything there is to know about perimenopause and menopause because that's all I do in my free time.
Yay!
So like let's just take that off the mental load of things you have to figure out. And let's just talk about what's happening to you and maybe your girlfriends and how it's impacting your relationships and that stuff. But like, let's just focus on you.
Yeah. And that's huge because it's,
oh my gosh,
it's a master's class. It's a whole PhD program. What's going on?
Absolutely.
It's women's health. It's biology. It's physiology. It's psychology. It's so many different pieces. And that is such a good point. Again, it's just like whenever we seek help outside of ourselves, it's so that we don't have to become masters of another craft while we're already masters of ours, of our career, of our family, of our insert life stuff here. So that's really, really powerful and really cool. And again, just because I do think that this is kind of a menopause coach is a newer thing for people, would you be comfortable just kind of sharing what different aspects of your coaching practice look like? So how you work with women in different capacities?
Yeah. So I have a lot of different ways to work with women. And it was funny when I did the business coach. I've had like 6 business coaches, all of which have been amazing in their own right. But everyone's always like, you've got to niche down. You've got to niche down and get really specific about your offer. And what I keep relearning is that so much of what I do requires me to be able to be adaptive to the person I'm encountering. Yep. But in a nutshell, the way I work is you can either do like a coaching package where you buy coaching sessions. They never expire. I don't do like you have to meet with me every week. I just don't. We're too busy. Life's too hard. So you can buy a coaching package and then those coaching sessions are yours. They never expire. You book when you need me. If we have a plan or you set up a plan, I help keep you accountable to that if that's something that you want. If you just want me on short dial, that's fine too. That's part of the reason I exist. So that's one way. Another way is that I do like panel discussions and speaking engagements. So if you have a crew of people who at work would benefit from better understanding what's happening to women, I love speaking to mixed ages and mixed genders in rooms. I think there's actually a lot of really amazing men who want to know and understand what's happening because they're watching their partners suffer and that's not working. They want to be able to help. And so they're looking for information too. So I do talk to a lot of partners and spouses of women going through it. And then, I can speak at work or do panel discussions or go to gyms or whatever. So that's the second way you can work with me. The third way is I actually have these super fun, they're called Meno Convos. So literally you and your girlfriends can just get on a Zoom together and I'll come on the call for an hour and you can just ask me anything you want.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah. And these are like some of my favorite things. What I'm trying to get women to do is have me join them on vacation. I'll stay in a separate room. But like, ladies, let's go to Greece and do this right. I mean,
yes, and bring your personal trainer too. You'll have your Meno conversations and then a strength training workout for menopause. We're available.
Right. So and I'll do it at coffee shops here locally, but I've had a couple of people do it where they're all over the country. So it's just a chance too to like have some real honest conversation about how we're really doing and how frustrated we are that we can't get good information.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I have a program, and this is probably my favorite thing that I do and what I do most of. I have something called Walk-In Ready. And what I help women do is I help you prepare for an appointment with a clinician. So a lot of women really struggle to find meaningful menopause care. I mean, the statistics are crazy. There's 60-ish million women in perimenopause to postmenopause. There's around 4,200 menopause certified providers. This is OBs, family medicine, PAs, right?
That's
The
crazy.
whole works. So we're talking 14,000 women per clinician. That's a lot. Minnesota is actually beautifully unique in that we have a lot more here. So we're really lucky in this state.
Way to go,
But
Minnesota.
right, nationally, it's really challenging for women to find this kind of
Yeah.
care. So my job is to make sure, first of all, that you're finding someone who can have the conversation you want to have with you. And then going into that conversation really prepared. What's happening to your body? Let's get really clear about what you need to talk to the clinician about, the questions you really want answered, and the biggest problems that you need answers to. And then I also provide you with a list of like, here's some other stuff you can bring into the conversation as per ready. And a big reason for this is over and over as I talked to clinicians, the issue's the bottleneck. They have 12 to 15 minutes. Women come in during their annual and they're like, they have to get through the breast exam and the pap smear and the blah, blah, and get through all that. And then you're over by 2.5 minutes. And they're like, oh, I want to talk to you about menopause. So over and over and over, I hear doctors telling me like, I can't teach, treat, and care all in that window of time. So my goal is to cut that window down to just a few minutes at the beginning. So by the time you walk in, like you can pop out all the information the doctor needs within a few minutes. Then the two of you can have a meaningful conversation about what's right for you. And then I follow up after. So then I do a call afterwards and we chat about the experience. How's it going? Did everything make sense? A lot of women get pretty stressed for appointments and then they don't remember everything afterwards. So I just kind of help bridge that gap so that not only are women feeling way more in control going into the room, the doctors are getting way more out of the appointment time and being able to get treatment options provided more quickly and better. And then afterwards, we have way better adherence. Like women just feel way more confident knowing like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This makes so much sense now. And these are things I'm worried about or have questions about. And you can get that answered. Because again, you don't want to wait 3.5 to 4 months to go back and see your doctor and figure out what's happening.
Totally. It is each one of those steps that you work with women on is so crucial in itself. Mm-hmm. Like you said, this is one of the things Sarah's going to leave with you guys with today is just starting to figure out how to even find a practitioner. Yeah. That's wild. 14,000 to every one woman.
Yes. I mean, statistically.
Right. Yeah. Of course. But still, and that's something too that I hear from listeners on this podcast who reach out and I ask them if they have like a menopause certified practitioner. And they're like, I don't know. I live in the middle of I live in the middle of nowhere, basically. Like I don't have really access to, I don't have a lot of choices. Yeah. There's just so many things. So there's so much uncertainty there. And then I feel that prepared. That is so critical. There's so many things when I just think about like going into a therapy appointment where like all week I'm like, oh yeah, I need to talk to my therapist about this. And then I sit down in my therapy appointment and she's like, so how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Fine.
And I can't remember anything.
I know.
You blank. And it's when, again, we're just talking about this time where there's so much going on and nobody's probably going into these appointments like thrilled. Maybe a couple of us are, but there's like maybe a little bit of stress involved, maybe, especially if we know that we have some other like comorbid or like other illnesses we're dealing with that we're just already stressed about like getting our blood work done or whatever the case is. It's so easy to kind of have those like blackout moments or forget to ask and then be done and be like, oh shoot, I was supposed to ask about this. Or like you said, even just knowing what to bring up, like helping women know about symptoms. There's just so many pieces, again, especially at this point in the timeline of how everyone is talking about menopause, is that we're still the average woman probably doesn't even know, like we talked about, what to look for necessarily, let alone what to bring in and how to bring it up, Right. So that's in just the things that, as we know, like if you bring a certain lineup of symptoms and when they're happening, there's a lot of information that can be gleaned from like, is it a hormone thing? Is it a thought? What's going on? And just these like little packages will give them so much info. And that to me, all of what you do is amazing. That Meno convo, I just am like obsessed with. I didn't know you did
It's
that.
so fun.
And
Yeah.
I love that. Again,
So fun.
take her to Greece and then bring me because I'm just fun to be around. But,
Amen.
but this is the one that you and I were talking about over coffee where I was like, holy shiitake mushrooms. This is the thing that is this alone service, I think everybody should check out because we just want to maximize the time we have. Because like we said, next time we get an appointment, I was talking to one of my clients today just about getting a physical therapy appointment. And she was like, okay, but like they don't have availability till like 6 months from now. And it's like, which isn't so frustrating. Like who knows if we're feeling this way now, what we're going to feel in 3 to 6 months time. And then when we go in, if you're feeling panicky, right? So it's like, this is such a strong service. And then the follow-up, which I think really is easy to take for granted until you realize all the things that the doctor said. And you're like, okay, first of all, half these words didn't sound like English. You mentioned something really interesting when we were talking that I think bears repeating here, which is a lot of it's much more common now to practice prescribing hormone therapy. And one of the things that you mentioned that you can help with is that women either don't know how to use it or they don't realize why it's important. I hope it's okay that you shared there was someone who mentioned they were given estradiol and progesterone progesterone and weren't taking progesterone because they didn't want to take a pill, but didn't realize that if you're just taking estradiol and you have a uterus and it's unchecked, that can be a cancer risk. And that was something that you mentioned. Like, so if you just want to kind of speak to that, like that kind of follow-up, because that's huge.
Oh, it's huge. And I think the key too is one of the things we underestimate is that there's a lot of anxiety for women in the time between having made the appointment and the appointment happening.
Yeah.
One, they've maybe had negative experiences at the doctor. I mean, I have a running list of the absolute mind-bogglingly stupid things doctors have said to women, right, in the office I want to get a t-shirt at some point printed with all of these things on it because it's just unbelievable. So a lot of women have had pretty negative experiences. So there's anxiety just with the reality of going. Then there's anxiety not really understanding what's happening and what to talk about and what not to talk about because you don't want to seem dramatic or like you're overblowing something simple or you're being high maintenance or like that this is, you're already in your mind going, was probably all in my head anyway, So many of us are dismissive of, right, well, I should be tough enough to do this. I did this. Women have been doing this since the dawn of time. So why am I having a hard time?
Yes.
Right. And so there's all of that leading up to it. And then to get to your point, after the appointment, you've had this experience and you might remember all of it, but I encounter women all the time. My other favorite story is the woman, I got on a discovery call with her and she's like, well, no, I have a doctor. It's great. I've been seeing this doctor and they're super wonderful and they really listen and it's great. I love them. And I'm like, great. So let's talk about like, what were the suggestions? What have you been trying? She's like, well, they put me on vaginal estrogen, which, that was great. And I was like, great. How's that going? And she literally picked up 4 tubes of vaginal estrogen. She's like, well, I've never put it on. And I was like, what? She's like, well, I just keep getting it refilled every month because it just comes to the pharmacy, but I don't really understand what to do with it or how to put it on.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, let's start with that, and this again, like doctors run out of time, they can't get to everything and they may have explained it. They may not have. It doesn't really matter. Right. The thing is like women come out of so many appointments just going, what?
Yeah.
What? And the situation you were talking about, and I have heard that more times than I want to even count, is they're prescribed menopause hormone therapy. And so they get an estradiol patch or a cream or a lotion or an oral. And then they have a uterus, so they need to take a progesterone so they don't build up the lining in their uterus. And they just don't take the progesterone. My favorite was the woman who was like, yeah, they gave me this pill. I think it started with a P. But I don't like pills and it didn't make sense to me. So I just didn't take that because I don't like pills.
Fair. Super fair.
Right. Absolutely. So and again, like none of this is because people are doing anything wrong,
Right.
right?
Right.
This is really basic stuff that gets missed all the time,
Yeah. And I can
all the
feel
time.
myself even like in one of those situations if the doctor, like thinking of every single time I've picked up a prescription and the pharmacist is like, do you want to go over X, Y, and Z? I'm like, I'm good. I can figure this out. Like, I don't think I've ever asked a pharmacist for help. Like, to the point where I, in LA, was working in a basement for a year. So I got really bad acne and I got prescribed this cream and had no idea to use it. So I like burned off the lower half of my face. Like, there's just this sort of like do it ourselves mentality that we
Figure it
have
out.
where it's like, we'll figure it
hmm
out.
hmm
What's the worst that could happen?
Absolutely. Right. Exactly. And it's not like all of us are just sitting around like watching soap operas all afternoon and trying to figure out what to do with their time.
Wait,
So
what?
we
We're
read
not?
all of no, right, right. Like most of us are running in, like dragging 700 things with a bag, pouring over our stuff, grabbing our prescription, and hoping we get to the meeting on time that we're already 17 minutes late for because we booked it on the wrong day. Like this is a piece of the equation that I just want I want women to hear, like, our lives are crazy and chaotic and beautiful and perfect and devastating, always all at the same time.
Yeah.
So to imagine that this one thing, this perimenopause, menopause thing, is something you should, because you're a woman, just suddenly be totally capable of navigating and figure out on your own. I mean, like, if I gave you a new car and I was like, great, now I'd really like you to dismantle this and then put it back together exactly the same way that you found it, you'd look at me like I was drunk. You'd be like, I've never dismantled a car before, right? Let alone put it back together. I'm like, well, have you ever been through menopause before? Of course not. Like, we do this one time, right? And we weren't given any information about how to do it.
Wow.
So getting help can just really, and you can get help in any way that aligns and fits with your needs.
Yeah.
And for me, this is the piece too, like teaching women not only how to go into a doctor's appointment feeling confident, but also while in the doctor's appointment, being able to self-advocate for the kind of care they want,
Yeah.
being able to know and understand, like, I'm paying you for this
Yeah.
appointment.
Yes.
So when I say I want to talk about this, I need you to listen. And if your doctor's not willing to do that, or not willing to have the conversation, or not willing to listen, you are more than entitled to walk out of the room and find a different doctor. Like, you don't owe any loyalty to someone who's not going to pay attention to you and give you the care you deserve.
Yeah.
But we endure all kinds of horrific stuff just because we think, well, we shouldn't, I don't want to like
Stir the pot.
stir
Yeah.
the pot.
That is such a big, and I mean, I think it's partially like, I don't want to whatever. And then it's also the other side of like, just the like, again, just thinking in my own self, like, oh my God, the things that I'll have to go through to find another doctor, it's like
Right?
so much work just to get one
Yes.
appointment that it's like,
I know.
I had a medical thing last year. It was a fistula, and I went in, and the doctor clearly didn't read my paper. And I think I probably talked about it on this podcast because it was the funniest thing that's ever happened to me. And he walks in. For everyone who doesn't know, fistula is like a hemorrhoid on crack. So it's TMI. It's in your butt. He walks in.
Horrible.
It's awful. I couldn't sit for like 3 months. He comes in and he goes, so Kinsey, he was already running late. I was like, yep. He's like, sorry, I'm 45 minutes late. I was like, whatever. He was like, so the good news is, at the very worst, we're just going to have to take out your uterus. And I was like, I was like, where's the fistula? And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. What are you in here for? And I was like, a fistula? And he's like, not endometriosis. And I was like, nope. And he's like, oh, sorry. I guess I didn't really see the initials. And I was like, okay. I was like, wow. I'd been like 5 appointments deep by that point. And this is the first.
Right.
But that's just like, I laugh now because that's my claim to like horror fame of add it to the t-shirt list. The worst thing that happens is that we'll just have to take out your uterus.
Right.
But like it is even him. I mean, I was like, yeah, I'll get my blood work done with you because this appointment took me 3 months to get on the books. And I think you know what you were talking about now. Like, so it is, there is that alone too is another reason that I feel like just having someone in your corner to be like,
Exactly.
no, get it. That is not go somewhere else. Like go, it's worth it.
And I'll help you.
Yeah. And
You don't
I'll
have to
help
do that
you.
alone.
That's the big piece, right? And
Right.
and you're not by yourself. So yes, thank you for that. And I am just like, like I said, the second that I heard this, I was like, we need to get you on the podcast so women know this exists.
Right.
In a perfect world, what would like a menopausal woman's dream support team look like? And maybe this is just a whole other conversation on its own, but like,
It's such a good question. Because there's so many nuances here, right?
Yeah,
There are so many people who don't have access to care and for lots of reasons can't get the care that they need. And that is something that I'm also trying to figure out how to solve for. I can't solve for everything, but that one's something I'm super passionate about. And you asked the question perfectly, which is in a perfect world. Like if you have access to the resources, I wish I wish every woman could find at the age of 35 a menopause informed physician, whether that's an OB or a family medicine doctor, an NPPA, whatever that looks like, but someone who understands what the transition from reproductive state to non-reproductive state means, and not just from a reproductive health perspective, from a neurological perspective, a heart health, a bone health perspective. I would love for every woman somewhere around midlife to just proactively be able to find somebody that can be in their team and in their corner and walk them through this. That said, it's really hard to find a unicorn who can do everything that you need them to do. So a lot of women, after they're done having kids, stop seeing an OB. It's really important to continue to go see an OBGYN and make sure you're getting a really good, or an internist getting a really good vaginal exam at least every other year.
okay.
Every year is ideal. And many women just stop, right? They're like, well, I don't need kids, so I don't need an OB anymore. And that OB may not be your menopause person, but they may do something else for you, right?
Yeah.
Another big one that's really underutilized and highly underestimated in value is pelvic floor therapy.
Holler.
Right? And you don't have to go all the time, but just having access to one. There's some really great apps online. Get Mom Strong's a big one. There's a couple of different apps that are really good about just even how you move and really paying attention to pelvic floor strength.
Amazing.
Because loss of estrogen impacts all of our muscle, bone, tissue, everything. And so a big place that gets impacted is our pelvic floor, our vaginal tissue, our intervaginal tissue, our muscles, all of that gets whack-a-mole. So having someone who can help with that is lovely. And then again, always the understated, super important one is anyone who can be in touch with how you're doing emotionally. Like whether that's a group of girlfriends, a therapist, a life coach, a grandma, I don't care who it is, but someone you can talk to about how you're really doing and really talk to about how life's going. There's a loneliness epidemic going on, and midlife women are at the center of that.
Yeah.
And so community becomes any form of a community that helps you tap into that and find access to that conversation, I think is just essential.
Wow. Yeah, that's really powerful. I think everything you said is even just starting with the recognition that we're in a system that doesn't provide access to so many people for so many reasons, whether it's I don't have access in my area to a practitioner. I don't have transport. I don't have resources. I don't have healthcare. There's so many reasons that women can't just get basic support, which I think was a really important piece as well, just to acknowledge. And I'm like looking at the time, like, of course we're already like coming up on our time. So I think we are just going to have you come back on and we can talk a little bit more about the mental list, because that is going to be revolutionary. But all the way to I would love next time we come to talk a little bit about that sense of community and like the loneliness epidemic, because that's another piece that I think gets really, we don't recognize the importance of it. And it's so interesting when there's so many studies and documentaries that have come out about blue zones, and all their focus is on like their diets and their movement and what nobody really seems to talk about, and I'm sure there's someone out there who's talking about it, but it isn't getting talked about a lot, is that all of those blue zones also have very strong communities and sense of purpose, and they work in unity. And as just going back to what you said of like, it stuck out to me of being like, I should be able to do this because women have been doing this since the dawn of time. One, no, they haven't. We haven't lived long enough since the dawn of time. Two, for many, many, many centuries, we lived in communities where even things like childbirth was a different situation because we had our moms and our grandmas, the grandmother hypothesis, which at this point I might have already done one on. Stay tuned. This one's coming out later. But the point is that there's the community is such a powerful piece of wellness, and just like there's studies tied to healthy aging around being in community. Like that cannot be understated enough. So it sounds like all of you are going to be booking a Meno convo after this with your girlfriends, and then Fit After 40, which is a small group for that exact reason. That's why I pivoted out of personal training, because I was like, yeah, I'm really fun, but I'm not as fun as like 3 other women going through what you're going through. So I love that piece. Okay. I promised all of these listeners that you would give us some hot takes on how to find a menopause practitioner. Yes. So I would love if you would just share. Yeah.
Well, I will do a tiny plug because I'm at the forefront of creating this very resource for all women. It's called the Menopause List. It's going live in Minnesota in September, nationally in 2027. So it's coming.
Oh, yeah. And okay, I didn't know if I was going to spoil something. Sorry, keep going.
No, it's all good. Yeah, no, it's coming. We're launching in Minnesota in September, and it's already loaded with amazing people, and we're so excited about it. And this is just going to continue. So the key is it's an evidence-based care prioritized list, so women can know that every person that they're finding there, they can trust the information they're getting, and they're not going to get a lot of conflicting advice. And that for me is my number one priority. Yeah. Until that comes out, there's a couple of places you can go for help. The Menopause Society, which is menopause.org, has a Find a Practitioner. We can put a link to it too, but you can look by zip code and find menopause trained clinicians on that space. So one of the things I really encourage women to find someone who is actually a certified provider, not just a member. It means they have taken a pretty rigorous test to better understand how to treat menopause. Heather Hirsch Academy also has some good training that they're doing a ton of training with physicians, and they have a website that you can go and find a provider sorry, I'm trying to stop saying provider, a clinician on that website. And then honestly, just reach out to me. If you're stuck, you're going to have my contact information. You can make a free 15-minute discovery call. That's on my website. If it's overwhelming, stop. Ask for help. You don't have to do this by yourself.
Yeah.
And let's find you somebody near you, close to you, who aligns with you and get you the care you need.
100%. And just say that louder. If it feels overwhelming, stop, and don't just settle because you're tired. Those are 3 incredible resources. The menopause.org, which we'll share the link for. They're Find a Practitioner. That's the one I knew about, but the Heather Hirsch Academy, amazing. I didn't know about that. So we'll put that as well. And then, like Sarah said, obviously she's got a wealth of knowledge, and she's a delight to talk to. So easiest human in the world to talk to. 15-minute discovery call, 100%. And y'all, like I said, I didn't want to spoil the menopause list because we had talked about it. I was like, is this like not out yet? Should I just not say it? It is.
No, it's coming.
This podcast is the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. This is the revolution, you guys.
Yes.
Putting together something where you can literally log on and just find someone who knows what they're talking about. Like we were saying, part of the headache is just like searching, but these are, in the meantime, this takes the guesswork out of it. You know that if you go to any 3 of these resources, you're going to leave with information. And if you are in an area where you're feeling like a little unsure if they're helping you, or I'm so sorry, if there's people nearby you, reach out to Sarah. Yeah. You work with people outside of Minnesota as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I work with people all over the country, and there's some really amazing telehealth resources that are available to fill this care vacuum. So there are doctors who are readily available who can help, and you can get appointments relatively quickly through some of these organizations. So let's get you connected.
Yeah,
there's no sense in waiting.
So if you are feeling like you went to both these websites and you're like, but I live in a place where these don't exist,
Right.
Find Sarah. Find Sarah anyway, guys. But find Sarah and get hooked up with that, because that is so important that you find that provider, like she said, that knows what they're talking about, at least in this, maybe not a full-blown unicorn, but someone who knows enough to hear what you're saying.
Get you started.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is like as delightful as I had hoped and expected. I didn't write this down for you to look ahead at, but if you have one takeaway that you hope women leave with today, what is it?
You're right. What you're feeling in your body, what you're experiencing is real. It is not in your head, and you are not imagining it. You are not being over dramatic, and you are not going crazy. You are right. Trust that your body is giving you really good, very clear information, and that we can help you find the help you need, want, and deserve, because you are worth it.
Yes, you are. Wow, I have like full body chills. Whoo! And it's warm in this room. Oh, I love that. Okay, you are worth it. I love that. I love it. And yes, you're right. It's time we just start trusting ourselves. So, wow, Sarah, I cannot thank you enough. So I'm just going to keep thanking you throughout our outro. But at the time of this podcast release, which I just need everyone who's listening to know that we're recording this on the 7th of May. So we are way ahead of schedule, which is the first time this has ever happened, thanks to all of these amazing speakers we've had on. So Sarah, thank you for both being incredible and making my life a little bit easier and more fun. But at the time of the release of this podcast, this was kind of the universe looking out. We're actually right around the corner from a panel that Sarah and I are co-hosting, which I'm pumped about. First of many ? But definitely be here, because what if it's the only one? Don't miss it. This panel is, what if Sarah's like, actually, never again am I going to look at you in the face. This panel is going to be on Zoom, so no matter where you are in the world, you can come. We will also be recording it. So if you live in a time zone that it doesn't make sense to make it there, you will get a recording. If you have a Q&A question, definitely send it in ahead of time. We will answer it. It's going to feature Sarah as her menopause coaching expert self. Such a big wealth of knowledge. This kid's going to be talking all things strength and muscle, metabolism, and midlife and beyond. We have an incredible pelvic floor therapist who TBD, I'm meeting with the one that we have in mind today. So I'm not going to, maybe I should just commit her. That'll be a good way to lock her in.
Yeah. Be like, hey, guess what you're doing?
Surprise. I already put it on the podcast. And we have, and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, a sexual health doctor, Chris Christensen, who Sarah knows really well and just sounds like an incredible resource on just such a, I'm so excited to meet Dr. Chris. So this holistic approach of our panel, it's a holistic approach of a panel to menopausal health, and it features highlights from each wellness realm, which is the first time that with Fit After 40 I've been a part of before. So I'm so excited to be bringing this to you guys. It's going to have that Q&A to answer all of your questions, anything about midlife and beyond, hormones, symptom relief, ways to be proactive, muscle and menopause, you name it, literally anything. Pick our brains. We're so excited. Obviously, we love to talk about this. If you are currently living in the perimenopause transition, if you're prepping for a gentler journey, or if you're already living it up in postmenopause, this event's for you. Literally, it's for women, anyone born with ovaries, right? Because menopausal health is health. It just is health, the end. And what we do preventatively looks quite a bit like what we can do when we're in the thick of it, looks quite a bit like what we can do when we're beyond it. Because spoiler, a lot of it is, as we talk about here, lifestyle implementations and some medical interventions that help you at every phase of your life. So definitely check out the show notes, secure your spot, share it with a friend, Meno convo it up. You are not going to want to miss this night. It's going to be so action-packed with just good information. And like I said, a very safe space for you just to bring whatever you've got. Because this is, like we started this conversation with, there's so much information out there, so much confusion. By the time this releases in 3 weeks, there's going to be even more confusion, because that's just how it seems to be out in the interweb. So let us pick our brains and then enjoy yourself. So Sarah, I told you I'd say it again. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. You are such a delight.
Thank you.
And everyone go check out Sarah. Like she mentioned, I am going to put links to find her everywhere. Just go ahead and do you mind sharing your Instagram and website? So I'll put links, but just so people can hear it.
Absolutely. My website's sarahlarsencoaching.com, which should be easy, but my name is Sarah. I am a 4-letter word. There is no H in my name. And I am Larson with an O, not an E. SarahLarsonCoaching.com.
You're my very special friend, starting with the name and then following to every other bit of you.
And my Instagram handle is just Sarah Larson Coaching. So you can find me there.
Woo, same thing. 4-letter word and with an O instead of an E. I love it. And again, if you're like, I can't remember spelling, me neither. That's why it's going in the show notes. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in to spend this hour with Sarah and I. I'm so glad you were here to hear all of the amazing information. And I hope you are leaving this conversation feeling as empowered as I am. That you're right piece, it should just be your mantra for the rest of your life. You're right. You know your body better than anyone. And as always, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your busy, busy lives to listen to this podcast. If it resonated with you, definitely share it with a friend. Like I said, I truly believe in the depths of my human that what Sarah is doing is capital R revolution when it comes to women's health. So this is a message that I hope gets all the way out to the Ethernet. I don't know. Whatever. Gets out everywhere. We should all be talking about it. And if it did resonate, 5-star review, always appreciated. If it's not a 5-star, as I love to say, there's lots of other podcasts. Go find you one. All right, team. Until next time, take care of your beautiful bodies and brains. You are so stinking worth it. Aroo!